Hi guys, in this video I want to talk to you about these series of dreams I had about how to make free energy or energy out of water. And it was kind of like a series of vivid dreams I had. And I don't know if you ever had a vivid dream or not, but basically you know you're dreaming, but you're also there as a person, like I'm me, like it's not like I'm some other person, and or whatever, however, I don't know what kind of dreams you have. Anyways, I think we all have different dreams. But anyways, like I said, I had it about the first dream I had about 5 years ago, and it was I remember I was in a car, and we were passing. This is in Houston, Texas, and we were passing Texas Stadium, and then I remember I was in the passenger seat. My friend's car just like the sensors started like going off as we were passing it, and then we took a left. And I don't know if when you pass on a freeway, you always exit to the right. So I don't know if we were levitating or if we were flying or if there was a road to the left. But anyways, we kind of went into what is called the Astrodome. It's still there, but it was almost like it was a hologram, and almost like the roads, like we weren't flying. It was almost like a hologram road. I don't know. The best I can compare it to is like if you've ever played Mario Kart. How you can see the roads, but it wasn't like it was like a typical roads with all these columns and everything. But anyways, fast forward, we go into this. I mean, like I said, it might have been a hologram, it might have been the real, I don't know. And so we go into these tunnels, and I remember when we go into the tunnel, like you could feel the car going faster, like accelerating really fast. But what was cool is they had like a light system where instead of you could feel like the G forces of like when you go into a helicopter, a roller coaster ride where you're like, but the lights were like calming because they made it seem like you're only going like 5 miles an hour. So like and I remember focusing on the lights, and I could see them like flashing because they had to like light up a bunch of times, a different light, but it kind of gave you this like calming effect of just going casually. Then I remember we ended up in Galveston like 5 or 10 minutes later, and I did the math just right before this video, and you'd either be going like 300 or 600 miles an hour in order to get to Galveston in 5 to 10 minutes. And anyways, when we got to Galveston, I was just like, oh my gosh, like how did we get to Galveston so fast? And I remember like far off in the distance, I could see this island or land mass, whatever you want to call it. And I don't know if you've ever been to Abu Dhabi. That's kind of how it was. You could see like off in the distance or something. I mean, it's just, I guess it's the same as anywhere. If you could see land off in the distance, you don't have to be in Abu Dhabi. But anyways, that's kind of what it felt like. And I was like, so when I wake up the next morning, I'm trying to dissect my dream. Like, what was that about? Like, that was pretty interesting. And then like a couple weeks later, I had this other dream, and I was like, well, how did all that work? Like, how do they build that? What was off in the distance? And then the next dream I dreamt about the island. And what it was basically like it was a floating island. And that's kind of what I talked about. And they kind of had like beakers. I call them beakers. But basically, one of the parts I forgot to mention is inland, they had the same system. And I kind of drew what the system was. If you look here, this is where the water goes in. This is the water, obviously. So like the Galveston Island could be over here. I forgot that I was going to draw that before I started. And so, so what they would do is they would build these water plants where water would go in, and it would go from high pressure to low pressure. I wish I would have had like a stand or something. But anyways, back to the point of the story was they built these tunnels throughout Houston, and what these tunnels were underground tunnels to help drive faster, and that's what I was on. That's what I first visualized. But there were also water drainage systems. So if Houston flooded, and this was 1 year before Hurricane Harvey hit. So actually when Hurricane Harvey hit, I kind of felt guilty. I was like, was I supposed to tell somebody else? Like, what did I forget? Like, but there was also a point of me that's like, dude, you did what you could. You put it on YouTube, and obviously 1 year wasn't enough time to build these massive systems. But anyways, back to the point of the story is they dug these tunnels out to create these tunnel systems, and that's what they used to build the island. And what was really cool is I remember visualizing. I remember I could see the turbine systems, and I talked about it in the videos, and I'll put a link to those videos, to some of those videos. The turbine system just used water pressure, and that's what created the electricity for the city, for the whole system. And it was really cool because they were very slow moving turbines, but I guess they just provided a lot of torque. And so what that did is it allowed it to not disturb the water life too much. So I remember it was almost like it was like catching most of the water, but some of the water would go through. So like no sea animals, and obviously it had filters on the outside too. So like basically to not harm the water life, and then the water would just be filtered back into the ocean, or the animals, I'm sorry, and then the life, whatever, marine biology wouldn't be damaged, so most of it would just go right back into the ocean, but some would go through. And so it was just a series of turbines that would eventually get cleaned, and when they get to the end of the water processing system, which is down here, all the energy that was stored and created in the system would be used to, and I did kind of talk about it a little bit in the video, some of the water would be turned into, would be separated from liquid to oxygen, and they're using it to do that. And some of it would just be turned straight into water. So like, they would heat it up and it would just be pure water that could be moved here, or if they needed hydrogen here, if they needed oxygen here, whatever they needed, they could use that. So it was just this really cool filtration system to create pure water and create pure energy. Like I said, the reason I'm making these videos is because I started to see more, and like I said, when I made the videos 5 years ago, I knew nothing about it. And I remember even thinking like, well, who's going to create these systems? And I remember I had the vision of Elon Musk and I just lost his name, Tillman Furtada. And I just remember seeing, and I barely knew anything about any of these characters 5 years ago, but I remember somehow they're going to build this system. And it didn't make sense to me at the time, and it still really doesn't, guys. I mean, I'm not a scientist, but it kind of makes sense, and I keep seeing videos about it, and I keep seeing information about it. And I remember I just saw a video today, and that's why I'm like, I gotta make this stupid video, is because in the video, Elon Musk talks about having on-ramps and off-ramps, but in the video, that's what was so cool about it, is there were no on-ramps or on-ramps. It was just go. And so like if you wanted to go, like for instance, I remember like there was a road that led to Katy. So it was like this road just goes straight to Katy, and you go, 300 or 600 miles an hour, however fast these things go, straight to Katy. There's no slowing down, there's no nothing. And so basically each tunnel leads to a different destination. And that's why I call them wormholes, I guess, because it just goes one way. And so there's no stopping, no turning, no slowing down, nothing. And the really cool thing too, I think I mentioned it in some of the videos, was if there's ever any flooding, the roads could be used for that. So it's just completely so many different functions and usage for this. And I remember like seeing that there were roads that went to like San Antonio to Dallas. So it wasn't just local, it wasn't just Houston. And I remember like also visualizing and seeing like, like if there was a flood in San Antonio, we could divert water away from it using the same tunnel system. So I don't know, guys. I'm just putting this out there. If somebody knows what to do with it, I try to log into my original YouTube account and put it there, but I won't be able to. So I'm going to put it on one of my other YouTube pages. But guys, I hope if you have any questions, leave it in the comments. I'd really like to know your opinions, your thoughts. And like I said, if you have any questions, I'll gladly clarify. Like I said, this dream was 4 or 5 years ago. And it was about 4 or 5 different dreams, but I still remember all of them pretty vividly. I still remember how I felt, like the G-forces. I still remember like emotionally most of it, how it made me feel. So let me know in the comments, guys. All right, thanks. Bye.